Haygood, and she has written the book called The Little Black Book of Success: Laws of Leadership for Black Women. Marsha, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm glad to be here. Excited.
I'm excited also because I just know that I have a lot of entrepreneurs that watch my shows, and I really feel like this will be a great resource for them. You all make sure that you continuously visit the description box because that has all of Marsha's contact information as well as where you can purchase her book on her website and Amazon. And I've just taken all the work out of it because I've provided those links in the description box as well. So Marsha, if you could just go ahead and tell the viewers just a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, first of all, for inviting me to be on your show. I've been listening to quite a few of your interviews, and I'm excited to now be answering some of your important questions.
They are important.
My co-authors and I, Elaine Merrill Brown and Rhonda Joy McLean and I, actually wrote this book. It was published almost 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
We started writing the book based on us going to a girls' night out. And at the girls' night out dinners, we would talk about almost anything, all the things we had seen in the corporate arena. And at the end of every dinner, we would say, we could write a book about that.
Right.
And we decided, why don't we do just that? And the Little Black Book of Success, Laws of Leadership for Black Women was one that after research, we saw that there were no books out there at the time that talked about Black women and leadership, even in the same sentence. Mm-hmm. And we had experienced so many things that we had gone through in the corporate arena, and so many avoidable mistakes that we had made and we saw other people make. And so we decided to write about those. And so we have 40 laws of leadership. We could put 40 more in there, but the 40 laws of leadership that we thought were vitally important at the time.
Excellent, excellent. So now I see that we have a couple people watching. I just want to give Kiwana Wright a shout out. Thank you, Kiwana, for tuning into the show. Kiwana, make sure you go ahead and share this video now. And if you are watching in the virtual world, make sure you say hello to us so I can shout you out. So Marsha, I know that you said that you all published this book about 10 years ago. Do you feel that the laws are still relevant for us today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, keep in mind that we first started out writing about things that we had experienced then, but I'm sure that our forefathers could tell us that they had experienced them as well. Unfortunately, so many of those still exist, but so many are reminders that are accomplishments that we do too. We start off the book saying, always consider yourself a VIP. And we do that because so often we had been told to put our heads down and work hard and you would be recognized. And we know now that that's not necessarily true, but we also have to remember our accomplishments, to take some time to celebrate some of the things that we do well, but often when we do them well, we take them for granted. So we say, always consider yourself a VIP is how we start the book. And we remind people to document some of those accomplishments and document some of the things that have gone on in your career and in your life, so that you can go back and reflect on them. You should learn from them. I think you learn from both the positive and the negative. You learn from the positive so that you'll continue to repeat it, but you learn from the negative so that you'll know how to handle it the next time. So we talk about all of those things as well.
So I know that you said that many times we've heard that, you know, just keep your head down and just work hard and you'll succeed. Yeah. And you mentioned that you didn't feel that that was true.
No.
you killing us, Marsha. You're ending up a lot of our hopes and dreams. So
I just want you to pick your head up, honey. I want you to pick your head up and look around. When you put your head down all the time, it doesn't mean you're not going to work hard. You are going to work hard. But when you have your head down, you miss opportunities. You need to be part of the game. You know, one of my favorite chapters in the book is know that there is a game and accept that you must play. Understand that when you go into the corporate arena and in life in general, that you're going to have to know the rules of the game before you can break them. And you'll hear me probably on this during this interview, and anytime people hear me speak, there are a couple of things that I think are so vitally important. You have to take the stairs to get to the top. There's no jump. There's no elevator. You have to take the stairs. So that means you do work hard. You're going to you have to have some skin in the game. But it also means that you have to know how to play the game. And so you have to keep your head up so you can look around and see what's going on around you. You need to know who the influences are. You need to know how to network. You need to go out, and sometimes it's the little meeting before the meeting that you need to know about. You need to know how to navigate through a little after party, even if you're not drinking or you don't like beer and chips and you don't even like the players. Sometimes they need to see you there just so that you can be part of it. And it's unfortunate that we have to make other people feel comfortable, but we want to get something out of it. And in order to get things out of it, you have to know how to play the game. So definitely. You can't keep your head down all the time.
Definitely. So do you feel that we can no longer like keep our head down because we are Black women, or do you feel that that's just across the board, that you have to really know how to play that game?
Well, I think it's across the board, but I think we have a disadvantage, and so that we have to do it more. We have to be more strategic than emotional. And strategy is so vitally important in what we do. So we have to learn what's worked for us and what hasn't worked for us. And we have to get around that. We can't just complain about it. We have to do something about it. So lifting your head up, seeing what's going on and seeing how to play the game is something that we have to do. And oftentimes other people have to do it, but not to the same extent that we have to.
Mm-hmm. So can you continue to walk us through your book?
Sure. I mentioned that the first chapter is always consider yourself a VIP. And that means just helping to build up your confidence. What inspires you? Who inspires you? What are some of the things that you've done or your strengths that you take for granted? The second chapter is always to attain victory, you need to stay positive. So, I've heard a lot, and we've all done this, they did me wrong because, and I say, so what have you learned from that? So how do you stay positive, even in situations that are not totally meant for us, or so they say? Mm-hmm. Or, we have to learn how to get around negative and not let people or situations steal our joy. Mm-hmm. So I think remaining positive and attaining a positive attitude and positive mindset is so vitally important. And what will make you positive. So you need to keep that around you. I say, you can't have people steal your joy. And you need to know if there are people, even in your circle, who take away your energy rather than give you energy. Mm-hmm. Who's in your circle? Who's working with you? Who inspires you? So you need to do that as well and stay positive. One of the chapters that you mentioned is about don't be the office mammy. And this is one that my co-author loves. And she says that she used to, she would let people come in and tell her, she's a soft heart. She's a good soul. Yeah. So she would let people come in and talk to her and tell her all their woes. And she'd bring in cookies and, she'd do all of that stuff. You can't be the office mammy. You don't, it's okay to be nice, but that can't be all that you're known for. You can't be the one who brings in the cookies all the time. You can't be the one who lets people sit in your room, in your office while you're trying to work, because you will miss deadlines and they will still be complaining about whatever they were complaining about when they were sitting on your couch.
Uh-huh.
You will have missed some important deadlines and some important opportunities. So you can't be the office, you can't be the office mammy. You can be nice, you can bring in the cookies once in a while, but that can't be what you're known for.
Okay. Okay.
One of the other chapters is let racism be your motivator. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive, but sometimes people will do things and you will be motivated just to prove them wrong. You know, you
It's
think I
a
can't
good
do
thing. So
it? Yeah.
use that as our okay.
As the motivator.
Okay.
Let that be what says to you. And you know, I say this all the time. Somebody tells me I can't do something, and I'm like, oh, yeah? Well, let me show you.
So, Marsha, I just feel that we try to build those relationships with individuals based off of our personality.
Yeah.
What
So what's the question?
what are we supposed to do if that's what we do? If we enjoy doing it, what's wrong with doing it?
It means that you can't let that take time away from what's important. You can have those relationships. It doesn't mean that you can't be friends with people at work and that you can't bring things in to people at work, but it can't take all of your time.
Okay.
And if somebody is warming your couch all the time, first of all, if they're warming your couch all the time, they're probably saying the same thing over and over again. Secondly, you know, give them some time. You know, say, I only have 2 minutes, or, you know, I can't talk to you right now. I'll talk to you later. Or let's meet for coffee at lunchtime. Or better yet, let's meet for coffee before work hours or after work hours, rather than doing that during the day where there may be some opportunities that you are missing and that they're not interested in. So you need to be able to balance that, and you need to be able to be looking at that so that you can determine the difference.
So I know that you actually mentioned that we should use race as our motivator.
Yes.
To help us push through those people that says you can't do that. Have you actually had people say to you, Marsha, you can't do that?
Oh, sure. All the time. You know, and even when they don't say it, a lot of times they think it. I mean, think about the times when, you know, some of the experiences that we haven't had before. And just because you haven't had the experience doesn't mean that you can't do that. Now, that happens a lot with people of color, but that happens a lot with women as well. Just thinking, you know, she can't do that because she's going to have a family or because she's never done that. And you've heard, like I have, that a job will be open and it has 10 bullet points. And a man will say, I got 5 of them, I'll learn the rest. And a woman is saying, I only have 5 of them, I better wait until I have 10. You know, we have to learn how to do what we can and learn the rest and keep moving forward and not be shy about, also another one of my quotes, asking for what you want to get what you need.
So I know that some of the topics that, you know, you mentioned before was avoiding the office mammy and not becoming the angry Black woman.
Right.
And to stop assuming that every challenge occurs because you are a Black female.
Right.
Are those some of the things that you saw in the workforce that made you and your co-authors want to write about it?
Yes. Almost every chapter in this book is something that we experienced and something that we saw. And in the book, what we do is we talk about the issue, and we have a part of every chapter that's called the cultural code. And the cultural code are things that we sometimes do to sabotage ourselves. We think that we can't do it unless we have hit all 10 bullet points. That's sabotaging ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We think that things happen to us because we're women or because we're of color. And sometimes it has nothing to do with that at all, because we haven't uh, uh, done a self audit.
Okay.
We say that we haven't gotten good feedback, but we haven't asked for it either.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that we can do to keep ourselves moving forward, and we don't have to ask permission for those things. So we're telling our readers to look at your life. I personally think that we have a choice to do a lot of things that we say are being held back from us. But
Mm-hmm.
we have a choice. We don't have to stay at a job that we don't like. But that means we have to spend quality time looking for one that we do want.
Okay.
And that's a hard job to do. So there's some things that we need to do. We need to measure our own performance. We need to know what our value is. And oftentimes when I'm talking to clients, I'm an empowerment coach, and I'm talking to clients and they're saying, I'm not happy about something. And I'll ask them, well, what does success look like for you?
Mm-hmm.
And they're stumped. They don't think about that. So I say, think it through, and then take some steps, some measurable steps to move forward with whatever it is that you're trying to do. But you have to have skin in the game. You have to do that. So when we started writing the book, we started talking about those things. We have a chapter, use your duality as a strength, because we know more about other people and their culture than they know about ours.
Okay.
So instead of complaining about it, use it to your advantage. Let it be a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's those type of things that we talk about. Paying attention, listening. One of the chapters is listen up, understanding what is said versus what is meant.
What is said instead of what is meant. I think what I have experienced in the workforce is, if I see someone treat me a certain way, I'm gonna be honest, I do automatically go to, they talking to me like that because I'm Black.
Yeah.
And but if I see that you can talk to somebody else with respect, then that lets me know that you know how to turn it on and off. So
Right.
then I question, why aren't you talking to me with respect?
And I say to you, how do you question that?
Well, I say it in my head. I say, well, how come they, talk to them in a respectable manner?
And I might have a private conversation to say, you may not have meant to do that, but let me tell you what I saw or what I heard or how I felt when you said that. And did you mean to do it that way? And sometimes just calling people on it, not in an angry way, because they already thinking you're an angry Black woman anyway.
Yeah.
So not doing it in an angry way, but in a way that you're saying, I'm curious. Help me understand.
Okay.
Might change a focus.
Okay, this is good. So my problem is, because I'm still upset in that moment, sometimes I need to take time and address it the next day.
Exactly. We have a section in here where we say, make it a 24-hour rule. Follow the 24-hour rule. Don't do it when you're upset.
Okay.
Do it 24 hours later. And sometimes it means saying, you know what? You said that, but I want to think about that a little bit. Can we talk tomorrow? And I say, sometimes you want to bang out that email or that text message. Don't put a name in there. You can write it, but don't have a name in the address bar. Look at it and think about it and do all of those things. Take 24 hours. You can.
How do you get people to become um, comfortable with letting people see that something has affected them, or that they don't appreciate something. Because I don't want to be considered as in the workforce as, oh, she always takes stuff so serious.
Mhm. Well, I think that sometimes when that comes with time and it comes with practice. I don't want to make it seem as if it's not it's so easy to do. But everything is not urgent.
Okay.
Everything is not urgent, and everything isn't as big as we make it. And if we've been holding things in for a long time, you know, 12 little things makes one big thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say, you know what, you've done that several times.
That's good. I like that. Yeah, because it's that this to me, when a person, because I try to look at the person's character, and if I feel that they've done something to me that I didn't appreciate,
Yeah.
but that's not in their character, then I know they didn't mean it. But if they're constantly doing that, then I look at it as, oh, that's them.
That's right. And sometimes it's their problem and you can just avoid it. You know, when people show you who they are, believe them. So you can still have a conversation and remind them that they've done something. But you also want to think about, did I play any part in that? And most people, most of the time when you're angry, you don't want to accept any responsibility. You say it's all them.
Mm-hmm.
That part of that 24 hours is looking at the whole picture. What part did I play in this? You know, did I play any part? What could I say that could turn this around? What do I want to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can ask those questions of yourself and answer them in a way that's strategic, then you can go back in 24 hours. You can't do that as soon as that happens. That is, it's too fast.
Mm-hmm. But I don't want them to forget.
You can say, hold that thought. You know, hold that thought. I want to talk about that tomorrow because it's not sitting right with me now, but I want to think about it.
Yeah. I think my problem is stuff happens so fast. And
Yeah.
then like I have to have it replayed in my mind. I'm like, I don't think I appreciate that.
Right. And I also say that you document those things too. You put it down because if it happened to you once, it probably will happen again. And you want to be able to look back and say, I handled it this way. It was the reason that we wrote a companion workbook to the Little Black Book,
Mm-hmm.
because the companion workbook gives you the opportunity to go over some issues that have happened. We talk about it, follows the same format as the Little Black Book.
Mm-hmm.
And we ask, has this ever happened to you? And if so, how did you handle it? Looking back on it now, would you have handled it the same way? What would you have done differently? So it almost forces you to think about those issues, both good and bad, by the way, both positive and negative. So you can't eliminate the positive from your growth, but you can't eliminate the negative from your growth either.
Okay. Okay. And I just want to shout out Angelette King. She says, good evening. Hello, Angelette. That's a beautiful name. And Stacy says she's buying this book because it's truth. So if anybody else is interested in purchasing the Little Black Book of Success, make sure you go to the description box, because right there it says purchase Marsha's book at, and then I have her website link as well as the Amazon link and the workbook link under there. So make sure that you get the companion workbook as well as the book, because I think it is so beneficial when authors give us something that we can begin to write out, because it does help us to process just what we read. And it really does help you not to just rush through what you're reading.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I have been doing lately is I've been going out to organizations and to groups and talking to them, because girlfriends get together and they talk about an issue that they're having or several issues that they're having. And I have been going out to those organizations and sort of facilitating conversations and helping you sort of push through that process, because we're going to continue having issues in the workplace and in life. Now, understand that I say, we talk about the little black book of success, laws of leadership. But remember, the first person that you lead is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what your title is. If you are doing things that sabotage your own success,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't blame it on anyone else. You might want to, but the truth of the matter is you need to evaluate that and see what part you play in that as well.
Definitely, definitely. Now, this is going to be my last question about this, but this is something that I've always just had a problem with in the workforce. What if their actions do not change after you have spoken to this person about something? What do you recommend our viewers do?
Well, there's a couple of things, and there are going to be some people. First of all, it depends on who it is. Do you have to work with them? Is it your boss? Is it your peer? Is it something that you can make a complaint out to someone else or have someone else evaluate the process?
Mm-hmm.
Understand that it may be the wrong culture. It may be someplace that is never going to let you grow the way you need to grow, and that you may need to look for something else. But I don't say just jump ship first.
It's good.
They sort of look at the whole process. And I also say, especially in this day and age, that you have to look at why you're there in the first place.
What do you mean by that part?
I mean that sometimes you're at an organization not because you plan to be there 100 years,
okay,
but they're going to give you it's going to give you the skill you need. It's going to give you the contact with people that you need. And, I dare say the money, but I think money is only the motivator on payday. You have 9 other days that you have to go there.
Uh-huh.
It's not motivating you on Tuesday when it's on the odd week and on the bi-weekly time frame. You're not motivated. So you need to look at what you offer and get good at what you do, so that you can go to a place or be at a place that will value you and need what you have to offer. And I cannot tell you how many times I see people who don't know what they offer.
Yeah.
They don't know their value, or they don't offer anything. They just got a job. And you have to realize that it's a two-way street.
Yeah. Now, Tierra Mack, I was laughing at her because she said, just leave. She said,
yeah, well, and sometimes you do, but who do you hurt when you leave a job and you don't have one and you need the money and you're trying to find another job and you got nobody to give you a reference? Who have you hurt? Your peer who was sitting next to you? You haven't hurt them.
Right.
That's when I say, before you just jump up and leave, that's when you put strategy over emotion. And we have to learn that. Strategy over emotion. And sometimes that means that you could go to that job all day, be making the money and having the contacts and learning the skill that you want to learn so that you can do a side hustle.
Yeah, that's good.
So decide on that. But just jumping up and leaving usually doesn't serve you well.
That's good. And you know what I realized? So I realized that you can't always run away from these jobs because these same personalities are at every job. They just
they just have a different name.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And so that's when you really have to look at yourself and say, okay, how am I going to handle these type of people? Because like you said, you can't always just up and leave because maybe you haven't gotten that skill set that you were initially desiring to receive when you got that job.
Absolutely.
That's good. So we have Angelette, she said preach. And so Stacy asks if you provide mentoring.
I provide coaching.
Okay.
And there's a difference. Mentoring is someone who knows you and who you know, who can help guide you along the way. I know a lot of people, but my job is coaching. So I offer coaching services to people who want coaching. And trust me, my clients work. I give homework. I have them do things. I want to know what they've done for whatever problem or issue or challenge that they say they have. I want to know what they've done about it already. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes they say, I didn't do anything. I just left. Yeah. And I say, so how did that work for you, my dear? And go through the process. I help my clients develop success habits.
That's good.
It's not, do it today and tomorrow is gone. These are success habits. Everything from what time do you get up in the morning, to what do you do when you get home, to what's your outside interests. All of those things help make up who you are, mm-hmm. and make you a better person. Who do you know is important? Mm-hmm. Who's in your circle? Because the 5 people who you're around the most really determine your personality, mm-hmm. and really determine how far you're going to go. And if everybody's sitting home watching Girlfriends, then that's probably where you're going to be.
Right. I'm watching the marathon. So Stacy and anybody else that would like to utilize Marsha for coaching, her email address is in the description box along with her Instagram and her LinkedIn. I have all of her contact information in the description box. So I know that we actually talked about a couple of things, Marsha. Did you ever struggle with any of these things discussed in your book?
Every one of them. Okay. Every single one of them. Some of them better than others. Uh-huh. I've had terrible bosses, and what that taught me is not to be a terrible boss.
That's good. That is so true, isn't it?
I laugh at some of the things that, as I was coming up the ladder, that I did, and who you learn from. Mm-hmm. I learned good things from people who were not at my level. When I left the corporate arena, I was the executive vice president, but that didn't mean that I couldn't learn from the receptionist. Mm-hmm. Now, let me explain that one, because that one's so key for anybody who's looking for a job. I was responsible as the head of human resources, and before people, if we interviewed a lot of people and we liked 2 or 3 of them, mm-hmm. after I interviewed them, I'd go talk to the receptionist. I want to know how they treat the receptionist, how they came in, what they looked like, mm-hmm. And how they treated people.
Yeah.
Because those things are important. I was just meeting with a group, a corporate group, and before they made an offer, they took the person out to lunch. They wanted to know how the person how the person treated the wait staff and if they had good table manners.
Mm-hmm.
People are watching a lot of things.
Yeah.
So you are on all the time. And it's not because you're Black and it's not because you're a woman. It's because people want what they consider to be the best person for the job. So you need to be the best person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all the time. You can't walk around. I'm going to look at your LinkedIn profile. Yes, I am. I'm going to Google you. Yes, I am. I want to see if if you are cursing and showing off and stuff on your Facebook page. I'm looking at all of that because who you are demonstrates whether I want to be around you.
Hmm.
And so you can't tell me you want me to coach you, and then you get on the social media and act crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Elena said that you are the real deal. You pushed her until you bring out the best self, period. Top 10 people I've taken lessons from.
She knows. She knows.
So, what do you think is the first step in accepting the principles that you and your co-authors teach in your book, The Little Black Book of Success?
Self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
I think it means understanding what you do well and understanding what you want to do, even if you don't, and I don't mean it has to be by title, but it's some certain things that you want. I have a program that's called DARE, and it's dream, act, review, and then excel. What is it that you want out of this thing called life? And then what are you going to do to get it? How can you put your best foot forward? Do you seek guidance and support, or are you arguing with people every time they give you feedback? Because we all have blind spots.
Can I tell you something, Marsha? When I laugh like that, I feel like it's me. So
I just think it's so vitally important. Are you surrounding yourself with the right people? Mm-hmm. Are you inspired by people who are successful, or are you intimidated by people who are successful? Mm-hmm. I ask a question: who do you know? Who do you need to know? And who needs to know you? Mm-hmm. Put the list together. It's your list.
Yeah.
What are the adjectives that people use to describe you? What do they say when you're not in the room?
How do you find out?
Ask them. ask people how they would describe you. First, describe yourself.
Okay.
What are some of the things that you would use to describe yourself? And then ask other people without telling them your words. Just start asking. You have to start asking for feedback and then seeing what you get. And sometimes you'll like what you get and sometimes you won't. And then you have a choice. Do I want to change this or do I not care? Mm-hmm. So there's some choices there.
Yeah.
But to do nothing is not a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And I actually laughed when you said, do you challenge people when they give you a critique? I don't feel that I personally challenge. I just ask a question for a better understanding.
Okay. But then you can't talk about, you have to say, okay. You can't, okay. If they say something about you, Martinique, and you say, I don't agree. You say, that's interesting. I'd like to think about that. Maybe I'll come back and talk to you more about that at a later time. Mm-hmm. Not when they're giving you feedback, because if you argue about the feedback, you won't get feedback anymore, or you won't get honest feedback anymore. So it's all you can say after you get the feedback is, thank you. Mm-hmm. I want to think about that some more.
Yeah. And I think what we have a tendency to do is when somebody gives us that honest feedback, we begin to possibly look at them differently or treat them differently
Oh, absolutely.
because of maybe the area that we as individuals need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, it's kind of crazy the way that we know. I think that we honestly know the things that we need to change within ourselves sometimes, but I think that we chop it up as, oh, that's just me.
Sometimes yes, and sometimes you really do have a blind spot.
Uh-huh.
And when you have a blind spot, you want to know it so it won't be a blind spot always. When one person says it, it might be, just them. When 25 people say it,
That's good.
guess what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, with all of the books out there that actually teaches women how to, just transform their mindset about things and to be successful, why do you feel that the Little Black Book of Success is a great book to add to our library?
Because it's easy. It's an easy read. People will see themselves in it. It will make people think about things that they may or may not be doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one that's preachy. It's one that's helpful that you can look at and you can learn lessons from it no matter what level you're at. Um, we have chapters that are closer to the end of the book that, besides surrounding yourself with the right people, it's step out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? And I ask the people on this session, think about something that you've done over the last month, the last quarter, the first 6 months of the year that really challenged you.
Mm-hmm.
That you said, I'm going to stretch. Because sometimes we get in a rut and change is upon us, and it's the kick in the butt we need to get out of that rut.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't do it unless we're forced to.
Yeah.
We have to be the CEO of our own life all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes we use I'm going to say excuse that we're too busy. But you're never too busy to do the things you want to do. Never.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what it is. If you really, really want to do it, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
And when you really don't want to do it, you'll find an excuse.
Yeah. That's so true though, because I think about if somebody was to offer you $1 million at the end of 6 months to do such and such,
Right.
you're gonna find a way. You're gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of things that are in the book that we all have experienced. Like one, it says, not everybody has to be your BFF.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody don't have to be your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Your best friend. They don't have to be. That doesn't mean you can't work with them or you can't be around them, because sometimes they have something to teach you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like everything about them, but sometimes you want to learn from those people.
Mm-hmm.
Change is inevitable, so be prepared. Is another chapter. I laugh at this one because I cannot tell you how many people get laid off from their job and they act like it just happened. It was a surprise. Well, if they had been paying attention, they knew it was coming. Mm-hmm. They knew downsizing was happening. Companies don't come in the morning and say, okay, let's lay everybody off. It doesn't happen that way. So you need to be prepared. You need to, I say to everyone should have their resume updated. You should do that on a regular basis. It should be part of your success routine. Mm-hmm. It should be part of your success routine to know your best time of the day, when you're most productive. And when you're most productive, you shouldn't give that to things that are unimportant.
That's good. That's so good. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it happened. And people laugh because Under normal circumstances, I tell people, unless I'm out and about, my cell phone gets cut off between 8 and 8:30 at night. And they're like, that's so early. Don't you want to read your text and all this stuff? I said, no.
Yeah.
If I'm out and about, I'll keep it on. But if I'm home, I turn it off. And if it's an emergency, someone will call my landline. And if it's not an emergency, it'll wait until tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm up very early in the morning. I get up crack of dawn.
Like what's early for you?
Usually about 5:30 or 6.
I'm still rolling over.
I know. But you know what? There's 2 things that I like to do. I like to do, and I learn these success strategies. First of all, that's my best time of the day. I got big ideas. So I don't turn on my computer. I write. That's when I write.
Okay.
So I'm writing things for my journal, things for the blog, things I want to do, dreams, dream big. That's early in the morning. I also find that exercise for me gets my brain moving. Mm-hmm. So I like to get up and do that in the morning. And then all that other stuff, by the time everybody else is getting up, then I can look at the emails. Then I could do all of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Because I've already started my day. When you get up in the morning and you turn on your phone or your emails, you are then reacting to other people's issues.
Yeah.
When you get up in the morning and don't turn it on, then you can react to your own. Mm-hmm. It's just one of my success strategies. And I look at how other people who have been successful, far more successful than me, some of the things that they talk about in terms of their success routines. And I just read one recently that I said, this is so good. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. Uh-huh. And it's Warren Buffett. Okay. And what he says is make a list. This is his 5 and 25 rule. Okay. I was like, oh, I'm curious. I want to know. Mm-hmm. He says, make a list of 25 things that you really want to do. Mm-hmm. 25 things that you really want to do, whatever they are. Write them down and pick out the top 5.
Okay.
The other 20 are distractions.
Wait, what?
He said, work on those 5 first. Otherwise, all you'll be doing is thinking of all 25 all the time and you'll get nothing done.
But what are you saying? Are you saying at the beginning of your day?
No. I'm saying in total.
In life?
It might be, it might be, you decide. It won't be in the day because you won't get 25 in the day, but it might be 2020. What are the 25 things I want to do in next year?
And do you feel that he is saying like it's okay to mix it up, like professional?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because that's life.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll give you an example of one that I did last year. I'm pretty good at networking and I keep in touch with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But you never keep in touch with all the people that you know. So one of my things for the beginning of the year was during the month of January, I wanted to contact 7 people a week that I hadn't been in touch with, that I really want to talk to, but I hadn't been in touch with. Okay. 7 people a week. I could do all 7 on Saturday if I wanted to, or I could do 1 each day. Mm-hmm. I could do some by text, some by email, some by writing a note, some by calling. Didn't make a difference, but 7 people a week. That's 28 people in the month of January. If I had said 28 people, it'd be like 28 people. 7 a week, doable. Uh-huh. Right? And then I had satisfied that goal, but I had concentrated on that. Otherwise, you know how often you say, oh, I was thinking about you. Yeah. I was going to call you. Mm-hmm. And I say, well, why didn't you? It was like, I got busy.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. So what is your ultimate goal that you want readers to take away from reading your book?
That's a two-pronged question. From reading the book, I want people to think about what success means to them and how any one of these 40 laws can be of help to them. Any of these laws can be of help to them because they're all doable. Mm-hmm. What's important to you now may be very different from what's important to you 5 years from now, but it still is doable. And oftentimes they're not new ideas, they're good reminders. Okay. So that's what I'd like people to get from the book. What I'd like people to get from me personally, and we'll talk about that when we meet again on the business side, on the business spotlight. Mm-hmm. But what I want people to get from me is I'd like people to know and to practice and to work towards being both successful and happy. And people tend to say, I'm going to be successful now and then I'll be happy later on. I'll do that when my kids go to college. I'll do that when I have grandkids. I'll do that after I get married. And I don't think you have to wait for those type of things. I think you can do both, but you have to decide what those things are. And then you have to do something about them.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's sort of a twofold process. I can't talk about just the book without talking about my mission in life. And I do think that that is truly my mission in life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So why are you so passionate about teaching Black women the skills and strategies that's necessary to becoming successful in their career?
Because I'm one of them. And I also say, I had to learn that. Uh-huh. And one of the things that I hear, and I hear it often, Martinique, is that I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah.
Say, so what you doing to make that happen? Uh-huh. I am pretty happy and successful. Mm-hmm. But it didn't just come. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. None of those things that I have now, a lot of them I never dreamed of. Mm-hmm. But once I did start to dream, I started working towards it. And I think that we can all do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now I know that you were actually a part of an anthology called Speaking of Success.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the book and your contribution?
Oh my goodness. That was, here again, this is a time where I say you pick your head up and sometimes the opportunity just comes to you. Uh-huh. I was working with a group of people who I had just left my corporate job and I had started my business. And I found this group that were where there was a business coach who was sort of teaching us about running a business. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that she said we had to do was write a business plan. And in my mind, I didn't have to write a business plan because I wasn't going out looking for financing. And I thought that you only needed to write a business plan when you were looking for money.
Okay.
And I wasn't looking for money to start my business. So I didn't want to write the business plan. And she said I could not be in the group unless I wrote the business plan. It's so funny. I just had lunch with her last week. It's been 13 years.
Wow.
But she said, no, you have to write the business plan. It'll be a good project for you. So I write the business plan and I take it to her and she's saying to me, Marsha, I know you're not dreaming big enough. Mm-hmm. Go back, redo it. And I probably had done it like 3 times. I kept adding a little bit to it, but it wasn't good. I still have it. It truly wasn't good.
Okay.
But she wanted me to just keep trying. And the last time I went, she said, you know what? You know a lot of stuff. You should write a book. And I laughed at her. I was like, are you kidding me? I don't know. She said, no. You should think about that. Put that in your business plan. Mm-hmm. The same day that she said that to me, I was meeting a friend for lunch. The same day. Uh-huh. And I go to lunch and I'm telling my girlfriend about writing this business plan and writing in the business plan that I'm going to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
And she just stopped dead in her tracks. She said, Marsha, I just had an email that crossed my desk where there's an independent publishing company looking for successful executives to be interviewed, to be in a book with celebrity authors.
Okay.
I'm going to send it to you. She said, you won't even have to write the book. They'll interview you and do it. And lo and behold, I wonder, I do. I have the book right here. Hold it.
You are so funny. This is
Speaking of success, and here I am, little black face on the book, with Ken Blanchard that wrote The 1 Minute Manager, Jack Canfield that wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, and Stephen Covey that wrote The 7 Habits, and there's me who didn't want to write the business plan. You just don't know. When you open yourself up for opportunity, things just happen. So be open to them. Dream big and be open to opportunity. Can't have your head down.
Definitely.
Look around, see what's going on, and ask for what you want to get what you need.
So, you guys, Marsha did talk about this a little bit in the beginning of the show, but she is actually the founder and owner of Stepwise Associates. Can you tell our viewers just a little bit more about your company and the services that you offer?
Right. I am an empowerment coach. I do leadership training. I am just one that goes out and speaks publicly on leadership tips and strategies. Stepwise Associates is 13 years in business, and I just go around the country doing just what we're doing now to groups. Anybody looking for a speaker, call me, write me, do something to get in touch with me. I actually do this to sort of get people thinking how they can best move forward. I become my clients' strategic thinking partner. I help them think through the process so that they can move forward. I'll be I'm looking at putting some things together for groups online like this. So if they will sign up on my website to my mailing list, then they'll know when those types of things come out.
Definitely. And that's good that you mentioned that, because all of Marsha's contact information is in the description box. Her website is there, along with her Facebook page is there, her Instagram, LinkedIn. Get in touch with Marsha so that you can be notified when she does offer that virtual training, coaching sessions for individuals. Now, Marsha just just gave you a taste of her company. She is actually going to be on Business Spotlight, my other web show, on September 18th at 8 p.m. So make sure you go ahead and like and follow our Facebook page so that you'll be notified and reminded, because stuff be happening within that month. So you'll be reminded of her being on the show. Marsha, I just thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you so much. This was fun.
Definitely. And I thank you all for just taking time to watch another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. Make sure you continue to visit the description box. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Both of us have a YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. All of that information is in the description box, and continue to share this episode as well. I hope that you guys have a great night, and we will talk to you all later. Bye.